The billionaire's embarrassed, and increasingly cruel. At first, he simply ignored her calls. Then he stopped visiting often. Soon, he stopped pretending altogether. "You can't seriously expect me to spend my whole life pushing a wheelchair," he once muttered under his breath. The words shattered Isabella. Yet she stayed silent. Because she loved him. Or perhaps loved the memory of who he once was. One Friday evening, inside Silvercrest Estate, Isabella sat in the garden beneath white roses. Her wheelchair rested beside the fountain. The sunset painted gold across the sky. She waited. Damien had promised to visit. Again. Hours passed. Nothing. Then finally, she heard laughter. A woman's laughter. Coming from the pool house. Confused, Isabella slowly wheeled herself toward the sound. Her heart raced. Her hands trembled. And when she reached the glass doors, her world shattered. Damien. Kissing another woman. Not secretly. Not accidentally. Brazenly. The woman sat on his lap laughing while he poured champagne. And then, Damien looked up. Saw Isabella. And didn't even move. Didn't apologize. Didn't panic. Instead, he smirked. "Oh," he said casually. You're here. Isabella's lips trembled. Damien. The woman laughed mockingly. So this is the fiancé? Damien leaned back lazily. Yeah. The woman stared at Isabella's wheelchair. Oh my God, she whispered cruelly. That's awkward. Isabella's chest tightened. Tears burned her eyes. Damien, she whispered again. How could you? He sighed dramatically. Come on, Isabella. His voice turned cold. You honestly think this arrangement still makes sense? Arrangement. Not relationship. Not love. Arrangement. You can barely take care of yourself, Damien continued. I have needs. Those words pierced deeper than knives. Her hands shook violently. You promised me forever. Damien laughed softly. That was before. Silence. Painful silence. Then the woman whispered loudly enough to hurt. He's too handsome to waste his life babysitting. Isabella broke. Without saying another word, she turned her wheelchair and rolled away. Quietly. As tears blurred her vision. Back inside the mansion. She locked herself in her room and cried until dawn. But downstairs, her father had seen everything. Every single thing. Richard Whitmore stood in his office, fury burning in his chest. His fists clenched. His jaw tightened. He picked up his phone. Cancel every pending business deal with the Crawfords. His assistant froze. Sir? You heard me. But it could cost billions. Richard's voice became ice. I don't care. No man humiliates my daughter and walks away untouched. But fate had already started moving. Because the very next morning, someone unexpected was about to enter Isabella's life. A man who would change everything. A man she would first meet. In complete chaos. Morning arrived slowly at Silver Crest Estate. But for Isabella Whitmore, the sunlight brought no warmth. She had cried herself to sleep. Her swollen eyes stared blankly through the massive bedroom windows overlooking Beverly Hills. For the first time in years, she felt completely worthless. Damien's cruel words echoed endlessly inside her mind. You can barely take care of yourself. I have needs. That was before. Each sentence stabbed deeper than the last. Across the mansion, her father, Richard Whitmore, sat at the breakfast table pretending not to notice her pain. But inside, he was furious. His daughter had suffered enough. First her mother. Then her legs. Now humiliation. And he blamed himself. Because he had approved the arranged marriage. Because he believed Damien could protect her. He was wrong. Very wrong. Sweetheart, Richard said gently as Isabella entered the dining room in her wheelchair. You should eat. She forced a weak smile. I'm not hungry. You haven't eaten since yesterday. I said I'm fine. But she wasn't. Not even close. Richard sighed. Then quietly said. I ended business ties with the Crawfords. Isabella froze. You what? He disrespected my daughter. Her eyes widened. Dad, no. Yes. His voice turned firm. You deserve better. She looked away. Better? Who would ever love a cripple? The thought haunted her. Before Richard could say more, his assistant hurried inside. Sir, the investors' luncheon starts in an hour. Richard nodded. Then looked at Isabella. Come with me. No. You've been locked inside too long. She shook her head. I don't want people staring. His expression softened. Let them stare. You're still my daughter. The strongest woman I know. She nearly cried again. Eventually. Reluctantly. She agreed. Downtown Los Angeles buzzed with movement. Luxury cars lined the streets. Business elites flooded the financial district. Outside a towering glass building, Isabella sat quietly inside the family's black Rolls-Royce while her father attended a quick executive meeting. Her driver had stepped away briefly. For once. She wanted air. So she asked security to wheel her toward a nearby cafe. That simple decision changed everything. Across the street, a young man sprinted desperately through traffic. His tie was crooked. His shoes worn. Sweat dripped down his forehead. His name was Ethan Cole. 29. Broke. Desperate. And running out of time. Today was his final chance. A job interview at one of America's biggest transportation firms. If he failed, his landlord would evict him. And life would collapse completely. Please, God, Ethan muttered while checking his watch. Just let me make it. He hurried across a crowded parking area. Then, crash. A loud cracking sound echoed. Ethan froze. His face turned pale. Slowly. Painfully. He turned around. And saw it. The side mirror of an expensive luxury car hanging broken. A shining silver Bentley. The owner? Standing right behind him. A giant muscular man in a tailored suit. Middle-aged. Angry. Very angry. You idiot. The man exploded. Do you know what you just did? Ethan swallowed hard. I'm sorry, sir. Sorry? The man grabbed Ethan's shirt. This mirror costs more than your entire life. People stopped. Watching. Filming. Embarrassment flooded Ethan. I have a job interview, Ethan pleaded. Please, I'll pay slowly. You think I'm stupid? The man pulled out his phone. I'm calling the police. Ethan's heart dropped. No, sir, please. If I miss this interview, I'm finished. But the man didn't care. You should have thought of that. Nearby, Isabella watched everything. Something about Ethan felt different. Maybe it was the fear in his eyes. Or the desperation in his voice. Or perhaps, because she knew exactly what helplessness looked like. Slowly, she wheeled herself forward. Excuse me. The crowd turned. The angry man frowned. Yes? How much for the damage? He blinked. What? The mirror. He looked confused. Miss, this doesn't concern you. How much? The man hesitated. $3,000. Without blinking, Isabella opened her designer purse, pulled out a black card, and handed it to her assistant. Pay him. Everyone gasped. Even Ethan. What? He whispered. The angry man instantly calmed. Well. He cleared his throat. That settles it then. Money changed everything. Moments later, the furious owner left. The crowd dispersed. And silence remained. Ethan stared at Isabella. Speechless. You didn't have to do that, he finally said. She shrugged softly. You looked like someone who needed saving. He laughed bitterly. That obvious? For someone running like the world was ending? He smiled for the first time all day. And strangely, something shifted. For the first time in months, Isabella found herself smiling too. Small. But real. What interview? She asked. Ethan sighed. Driver position. What company? He hesitated. Whitmore Global Transportation. Isabella blinked. That's my father's company. Ethan's eyes widened. What? She smiled slightly. Well. She looked him up and down. You seem decent. Then. She said something neither of them expected. How would you like a much better job? Ethan frowned. What kind of job? Her voice turned calm. My driver. He nearly laughed. Me? Yes. He looked confused. You don't even know me. I know you were scared. I know you still apologized. And I know desperate people are usually the most loyal. He stared at her. Nobody had spoken kindly to him in months. Miss Isabella. He smiled softly. Okay. Then paused. But fair warning. What? I'm terrible at fancy rich people rules. For the first time in weeks. Isabella laughed. A genuine laugh. And something about hearing it made Ethan smile too. Neither of them knew. Someone dangerous had been watching the whole thing. From across the street. Inside a black SUV. Damian Crawford. And jealousy had already begun creeping into his heart. The ride back to Silver Crest Estate felt strangely different. For the first time in months. Isabella Whitmore was not drowning in sadness. Something about the man beside her felt calming. Honest. Different. Unlike the polished fake smiles of rich men she had grown up around. Ethan Cole sat awkwardly in the front passenger seat of the Rolls-Royce, trying not to touch anything. He had never sat inside a car worth more than every house in his neighborhood combined. The leather smelled expensive. Everything looked expensive. Even silence felt expensive. He adjusted his old tie nervously. You okay? Isabella asked softly. He laughed awkwardly. Honestly? She raised an eyebrow. I'm trying not to breathe too hard in case I accidentally owe somebody $10,000. To her surprise. She laughed again. A real laugh. The kind she had not made in years. And for a brief moment. Her pain disappeared. When they arrived at the mansion, billionaire Richard Whitmore stood near the entrance discussing business on the phone. Then he saw Ethan. His eyes narrowed immediately. A stranger? Near his daughter? He ended the call instantly. Who is this? His deep billionaire voice echoed with authority. Ethan stood up quickly. Sir, my name is Ethan Cole. Richard looked unimpressed. And? Isabella spoke calmly. I hired him. Richard blinked. You what? As my new driver. Silence. The security team exchanged nervous glances. Nobody hired staff without Richard's approval. Nobody. Richard folded his arms. You hired a stranger from the street? Ethan instantly felt uncomfortable. I can leave, sir. But Isabella interrupted. No. Her voice was firmer than usual. He helped me today. Richard looked carefully at his daughter. Then something surprised him. She looked lighter. Happier. It was subtle. But he noticed. And after months of sadness. That mattered. Background check, Richard told security coldly. Immediately. Then to Ethan. If I discover anything suspicious, you'll regret entering this house. Ethan swallowed hard. Yes, sir. Richard turned and walked away. But secretly. He made another order. To his head of security. Watch him. 24 hours. If he hurts my daughter, remove him. The humiliation By evening, Ethan officially started work. His living quarters were in the staff wing behind the mansion. Still luxurious compared to anything he had ever known. He stood in disbelief staring at the room. King-sized bed. Private bathroom. Huge television. He whispered to himself. This place is bigger than my apartment. But peace didn't last long. Because later that evening, disaster walked through the front door. Damien Crawford. Uninvited. Arrogant as ever. He entered the mansion carrying expensive flowers. As if nothing had happened. I'm here to see Isabella. The maid hesitated. Sir. She may not want visitors. Damien smirked. She'll see me. He always assumed she would. Because she always forgave him. Always. Upstairs. Isabella sat quietly in her room reading. When the knock came, she already knew. Come in. Damien entered casually. Like he owned the place. Hey. She said nothing. He placed flowers on the table. You mad? Silence. Then. You cheated on me in front of my face. Damien sighed dramatically. You're still on that? Her eyes widened. Still on that? Come on, Isabella. His tone became cold. You know how complicated this situation is. What situation? He gestured vaguely toward her wheelchair. The insult hung heavily in the room. You're not exactly. He hesitated. Easy. Her chest tightened. Then. Something inside her broke. You should leave. He laughed. No. Because despite everything. He leaned closer. You still need me. Before she could answer. A voice interrupted. Is everything okay? Both turned. Standing near the doorway. Ethan. Damien frowned instantly. And who the hell are you? Her driver, Ethan replied calmly. Damien burst into laughter. A driver? He looked Ethan up and down mockingly. Wow. Turning to Isabella. This is what your life has become? Humiliation burned inside Ethan. But he stayed quiet. Then Damien said something cruel. You know what? At least he can push your wheelchair. The room froze. Even Ethan looked stunned. Slowly. He saw tears forming in Isabella's eyes. And something protective awakened inside him. You should leave, Ethan said quietly. Damien laughed again. Excuse me? You heard me. The room became tense. Your staff, Damien snapped. Know your place. Ethan stepped closer. No. His voice stayed calm. My place. He looked at Isabella. Is making sure nobody disrespects her. Silence. Dangerous silence. Damien scoffed. You think you matter? No, Ethan replied. But kindness matters. That sentence hit Isabella deeply. Because Damien had not shown kindness in years. Damien turned toward her. Seriously? You're choosing your driver over me? And for the first time in forever. Isabella answered without fear. Yes. Damien froze. What? Leave. Her voice shook. But stayed firm. Get out. His expression darkened. You'll regret this. No, she whispered. I regret loving you. That hit hard. Damien stormed out furious. Slamming the door behind him. The room went silent. Then. Unexpectedly. Isabella started crying. Quiet tears. Painful tears. Ethan hesitated. then carefully handed her a tissue. "You okay?" "No." She laughed bitterly through tears. "Not even close." He sat nearby. "Not too close. Not awkwardly. Just enough." And softly said, "For what it's worth. He's blind." She frowned. "What? If someone can't see your worth, they're the one with the problem." Her eyes met his. And for the first time, someone saw her. Not the wheelchair. Not the tragedy. Her. But downstairs, Richard Whitmore had witnessed everything through security footage. And for the first time, he found himself thinking something dangerous. Maybe this driver wasn't ordinary after all. Meanwhile, miles away, Damien sat inside his penthouse apartment. Angry. Drinking. Obsessing. And then he made a call. To whoever answers. His voice turned dark. "I want information on Isabella's new driver. Everything." Because jealousy had officially turned into war. Days passed. Then weeks. And slowly, something impossible began happening inside Silvercrest Estate. Isabella Whitmore started smiling again. Not often. Not loudly. But enough for people to notice. Enough for her father, Richard Whitmore, to stop worrying every second. And strangely, the reason was always nearby. Ethan Cole. Her driver. But somehow, much more than that. Unlike everyone else, Ethan never treated Isabella like she was broken. He never pitied her. Never spoke to her slowly. Never acted like her wheelchair defined her. Instead, he treated her like a normal woman. Sometimes annoyingly normal. "Race you to the garden," Ethan joked one morning. She rolled her eyes. "You realize that joke is terrible, right?" He grinned. "Still counts if I win. You're impossible." And yet, he bowed dramatically. "You still keep me employed." That made her laugh again. And little by little, the mansion that once felt like a prison started feeling alive. Even the staff noticed. "She looks happier," one maid whispered. "It's the driver," another said. But not everyone was happy. Especially not Damien Crawford. Inside his luxury penthouse, Damien slammed a report onto the table. His private investigator stood nervously nearby. "That's it?" Damien snapped. The investigator nodded. "Name, Ethan Cole. Age, 29. No criminal record. No hidden fortune. No wealthy family. Former delivery driver. Lives paycheck to paycheck. Only family is an elderly grandmother." Damien smirked cruelly. "A poor nobody." He leaned back. "Perfect. Because poor people were easy to destroy." "Dig deeper," Damien ordered. "And start following him." One evening, heavy rain poured across Beverly Hills. Thunder shook the sky. Richard Whitmore had traveled to New York for business. Most staff stayed indoors. The mansion felt unusually quiet. Inside the library, Isabella sat reading while Ethan prepared tea. Suddenly, the power flickered. Then, darkness. "Great," Ethan muttered. Thunder boomed. And unexpectedly, Isabella flinched. He noticed. "You scared of storms?" She looked embarrassed. "No." Another loud thunderclap exploded. She jumped slightly. "Maybe." Ethan smiled softly. "You know what my grandmother says?" "What?" "She says storms are just the sky arguing with itself." Isabella laughed. That's ridiculous. Works for me. Then silence. Comfortable silence. The kind neither of them expected. Until suddenly, her voice became quieter. Can I ask you something? Sure. Why are you so kind to me? He paused. Thought carefully. Then said. Because I know what pain looks like. She frowned. What do you mean? Ethan sat down. When I was 16. His voice softened. My mom got sick. We couldn't afford treatment. I worked jobs after school. But it wasn't enough. She died. Isabella's expression changed. Pain recognized pain. I'm sorry. He shrugged sadly. After that, it was just me and my grandmother. She raised me. She always says. He smiled faintly. Broken people understand broken people best. Something inside Isabella shifted. Nobody had opened up to her in years. Nobody vulnerable. Nobody real. Rich men only talked about money. Status. Deals. But Ethan? He spoke like someone who had lived. Someone who understood suffering. Then suddenly, another thunder boom. The lights returned. And Ethan stood. Want some fresh air? In the rain? Why not? She raised an eyebrow. I'm in a wheelchair. So? She blinked. Nobody ever said so. People always treated her limitations like walls. He rolled her carefully toward the mansion terrace. Rain sprayed softly outside. The city lights shimmered below. Beautiful. Peaceful. And then, without thinking, he gently held her hand. Not romantically. Not forcefully. Just naturally. Warmly. Her heart skipped. For a second. She forgot everything. The wheelchair. The betrayal. The loneliness. Everything. Then, Ethan suddenly said something unexpected. My grandmother would like you. She laughed softly. Oh really? Yeah. She likes stubborn people. I'm stubborn? You hired a random guy after he broke a car mirror. Fair point. She laughed again. Then asked. What's she like? Ethan's expression softened deeply. She's. He paused. Special. 2 days later. Ethan drove to visit his grandmother. A small countryside home far outside Los Angeles. Simple. Peaceful. Nothing luxurious. But warm. Real. The moment she saw him, the old woman smiled knowingly. Her name was Grandma Evelyn. But people around town whispered another name. The woman who heals the impossible. Some called her gifted. Others called her strange. Some even whispered. Witch. But Ethan never believed in rumors. To him, she was just Grandma. As they drank tea, he casually mentioned Isabella. And everything changed. Grandma Evelyn grew quiet. Very quiet. What's her name again? Isabella Whitmore. The old woman's eyes narrowed. The girl in the wheelchair? Yeah. Bring her to me. Ethan frowned. Why? She stared out the window. Then quietly whispered. She's not supposed to stay broken. He blinked. What? Grandma Evelyn turned slowly. And said something chilling. The problem is not where doctors have been looking. Thunder rolled softly outside. And suddenly, even Ethan felt uneasy. Because his grandmother had only spoken like that twice before. And both times, She had been terrifyingly right. Back at Silver Crest Estate, someone else had arrived. Damien. But this time, he wasn't alone. Standing beside him was a dangerous woman with a wicked smile and revenge in her eyes. The very woman Isabella caught him cheating with. And together, they had a cruel plan. A plan to destroy Isabella completely. To be continued in episode 2, The Secret Healing begins. Kindly like and subscribe, so that you wouldn't miss more of these stories. Let us know what you make of the story thus far in the comments section, and also let us know where you are listening from.